Good evening and welcome to our second official Right Side broadcast here on February 18th. We have a great show tonight. Tonight's my special co-host is Mr. Norris Hardeman, and Norris is going to be a co-host with us frequently in the future. So we're welcoming him today officially, and of course our wonderful vice chair, Rob Rodriguez Palazzari, is over in the techie corner over there, making everything work for us, or we hope working for us.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So we have tonight's broadcast is really a serious topic. It's and it's going to be it's a sensitive and a serious topic, but I think it needs to be discussed. And that is, we're going to be speaking about SAGE, and SAGE is a group called Stand Against Extremism in Livingston County, and they hosted a movie recently, and the movie was the movie was about?
Some former white supremacist. He was the guy that did the attack on the state trooper in Brighton, I think 2001 time frame.
Yes.
Like he recently got out of jail, I think, or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I forget exactly all the details. But
okay.
That's my understanding of.
Okay. I'm going to go back. I think it was like in the early 90s, actually. Yes.
Some foreign director.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if he actually befriended the guy, but he developed a relationship with him.
Okay.
And he kind of went through his journey with him, I guess.
Okay. Well, and that, I mean, normally that would be an okay thing an okay movie to watch. It's certainly inspiring that kind of thing happens. But I also recall that Commissioner Nakagiri had mentioned at a commission meeting that he was going to go. He was interested in seeing it because it sounded like a good topic. And when he got there, he was met with all kinds of pushback and not allowed to come in. And I'll let him tell that story. But, it really, the Stand Against the SAGE group, their entire message seems to be that Livingston County is flooded with racism and racism issues. And, how long have you been in Livingston County?
Probably about 4 years.
Okay. Rob, how long have you been in Livingston County?
I was imported about 12 years ago.
Imported 12 years ago. Well, I've been in Livingston County 50 years. 50 years. And, I moved here when I was 14. And to say there's never been a problem here would be disingenuous. I remember years ago there was. I mean, there was a reason that we had a reputation, because we did have some less than ethical or moral people running that type of thing here, in at least north of us in Cahata. But the gentleman who was in charge, no, not gentleman, the man who was in charge of it, Robert Miles, died, years ago. And as that happened, so did the outbursts and the issues and the events that they had. And I remember the KKK coming to the courthouse, and I remember, oh my gosh, there was an astronomical expense for the city. They had to put fencing around the courthouse. They had to put a fencing around the yard. They had all kinds of police in full whatever riot gear, and they had them around the perimeter, and it wasn't so much the KKK fighting with people, but it was all the different groups that either for or against them that would be the problems. Yeah, so there were layers of fences, and it was a big, horrible thing. But I remember, I want to say it was in late 90s, and and it was not early 90s, it was late 90s with that incident. I just remember it was late 90s. So I remember, I believe it was late 90s when the KKK once again filed for a permit to be on Livingston County, the courthouse lawn, and the city and the community just were fed up. They didn't want it. And so some of the community leaders got together, and by the community leaders, I mean pastors and chamber people and the radio station leadership. And I remember Rich Perlberg and Buddy Morehouse and Maria Stewart, I think from the newspaper, got involved in this, and business owners and other leaders and other community stakeholders got together and said, look, we can't deny them their free speech. So let's just do a Just Stay Home campaign. And they did a phenomenal job at the media, getting the word out. Just stay home. Don't come down. They encouraged local business to shut down. And with that, enough of a notice, they were able to get this word out. And then when the day came, from what I'm told, I wasn't there because I just stayed home, but I was told that nobody showed up and it was very empty, just yelling at each other. And that lasted a little while. But it was kind of interesting because they came down and they said their piece, but they couldn't buy a pop, or they couldn't get anything to eat, or they couldn't buy gas, or whatever the other stuff was. So, and you know what? They haven't been back. And so that, and I remember the next day there was a symbolic cleansing of the courthouse. The washing the sidewalk and stuff where they stood, and the steps of the courthouse and things like that. So it was a community thing. There's probably candlelight vigil. I don't remember now, but and that was like the end of their presence here, at least in a group. That isn't to say that there's not, there's not people out there that believe that are racist.
There are assholes.
Yeah, well, there are. Yes. There are those
no
everywhere.
shortage of those.
No, they're there, and I suspect that in every community there's a idiot per square inch ratio as far as that topic goes. But I can't believe that. Let me say, I mean, having lived here 50 years ago and living here now, there's a huge difference. Huge. You don't hear it, you don't see it, you don't detect it where before you could. So for them to say that this is rampart, anybody to say it's rampart here or on the loose or what have you, I would have to say that our idiot per square inch in that respect is probably, or per square mile, I should say, is probably the per square miles are much greater than many other places. Yeah. So
I mean, I've been here, like say 4 years. I've been around the county.
Okay.
Been visible. It's not as, I don't hide. Kind of hard for me to hide. So,
all right.
Oh, you mean because you're such a muscular man?
Yeah. Yes, right. Okay. So you're not what we call a wallflower.
So, I mean, I have not had an issue. People have been great. This has been a welcoming place. I love it.
Good.
And people, good salt of the earth people. It's been a great experience. I mean, I have no regrets about moving here.
Good.
Now, like I said, is there somebody out there? Maybe.
Sure.
Do I care? No, you can't.
Right.
You don't bother me. I don't bother you.
You're right. Right.
Because there are other things that are great equalizers, and
yeah.
So.
Well, that's well, it's good to hear that you haven't run into that experience, because when you listen to these groups talk, and they come and really we have to make sure we ask Commissioner Nakagiri to talk about some of the nonsense they spew at the meeting, about racism and Republican racists. And that's the other thing, they tend to connect the Republican with the racism. And
awfully funny, they seem to forget their history.
Yeah, well, okay, well, yeah, this is true. So, but in Livingston County, they make it a big deal. So we have to make sure that we ask Commissioner Nakagiri when he gets here to kind of, if he remembers some of the things that they say. So anyway, welcome, Norris, and we're glad you're here. And we're going to go to a quick break here, and then we're going to come back with Commissioner Nakagiri, and we're going to hear what he has to say. Thanks. Welcome back to the right side. That's the Livingston County Republican Party's podcast, where we get out both our news for our party and the Republican side of things in Livingston County. I don't know that I introduced myself. I'm Deb Drick. I'm the chair of the Livingston County Republican Party, and I'm enjoying this. And this again is Norris Hardeman, who is a Republican here in the county. And then we have our special guest tonight, Commissioner Wes Nakagiri, who has had an interesting couple of weeks here. So, Commissioner Nakagiri, if you would please share with us your story regarding the movie theater and what happened.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I had learned about this, I'll call it a movie preview.
Okay.
And it was a topic that I was interested in. You have this guy that was an avowed racist, Nazi, that he converted to, to repudiate everything he stood for. And I'm not going to say normal. He now he's an anti-racist.
Mhm.
So he's went from one extreme to the other. And but no, that he repudiated his Nazism, I think, is a great thing. And I wanted to hear his story. And there was this event at the old historic Howell Theater was open to the public. And so I attended. In fact, I told people at a county commission meeting that I was going to attend. And what was nice was that a lady that was is a frequent attendee to the commissioner meeting. She's on the left, but she spoke at Call the Public. She was on Zoom and welcomed, said, "Hey, I welcome Commissioner Nakagiri. I'd like to see other commissioners attend." So
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a nice. So I got there. It was I forget the day of the week, but I got there right as things started, 5:30. That's what I had been told. You could get signed in, and I actually couldn't get in because I was told, I was not aware of it, but I was told that you had to sign up ahead of time on their website, the Sage website, and that they were booked. There was no more room. And so I said, well, I guess I must have missed that, which I did. I didn't realize you had to sign up ahead of time. But so I thought, well, they had a concession stand there in the theater. I thought, well, maybe I'll get a bite to eat. And then, but there was a little bit of a line. So I said, I'm just going to go. So I left and went and had a salad over at Cleary's. But on my way, I got in my car and drove to the parking lot behind Cleary's. I noticed that there was a Howell police officer in the county parking lot, right across the street.
Right.
There was another Howell patrol car behind. So I thought, oh, and they got this covered. They're
right.
And,
right.
So it was interesting. I got there so early. I think that there was hardly anybody there, but there were people out front with masks on, and I couldn't tell.
Like what kind of mask? Like
covering their face. They didn't. To me, it looked like they didn't want people to know who they were.
Like the masks for COVID. Those
No. Just like a masked man.
Oh, like the burglar mask.
The burglar mask.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
yeah. So it was unclear to me, if they were on one side or the other,
Sure.
And so, but I did take note of that, and but there was nothing happened in the period of time that I saw things, and then I left after I had dinner, and so I had heard about all the ruckus, by reading the newspaper, reading the media. Somebody had said somewhere along this, I don't know if it's social media, people, I'm rarely on social media now,
Right.
so people will text me screenshots and stuff.
Sure.
And I think somebody texted me a screenshot saying, I tried to force my way in.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I read that. That was, no, I think the words were you tried to bully your way in.
Yeah, it's like,
And and then you ran away when you were finally told no or
Ran
something.
away.
You ran
Yeah.
away.
and so
Oh yeah, I believe that.
there's tall tales, I guess you'd say. But you know what? That's okay. It doesn't bother me. It's why do you have to embellish the story? I mean, why do you have to? Well, why do you have to lie? So,
Because it's Man walks in and was told to go home, and he went home is really not a good headline.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
no story
then
there.
they call Trump the whole extremism
Yes,
angle,
yes,
right?
yes,
Which is
yes.
the lie.
I tell you what, there was an opportunity to have, the Sage is a group on the left.
Right,
they're
absolutely.
Sure.
you can see who lines up with them, the
Sure.
local Democrats. And so this was an opportunity to have somebody who's a Republican, and I make no bones about it. I'm a conservative Republican,
Mhm.
and I stand up for conservative values.
Sure.
To be at the same event, and have an opportunity to listen to not just the movie, which the name of the movie was The Face of Hate,
Mhm.
which I'll probably watch it. I'm told you can see it on Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
So, but to hear about this life story of this guy that, was a nasty guy, and now he's less nasty, although he's still,
Right.
he's the anti-racist stuff is
Right.
is racist.
It's still an extremism.
Yeah,
Extremism.
Its name,
Yeah.
does it injustice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to hear that story, and to be able to talk to him, I look forward to. And I'm not, afraid to go in and have a conversation with the other side. I went into the movie theater and I had my hat on. This is probably my favorite hat.
Oh,
Right.
And
that's what got you bad.
Yeah.
But you know what? I actually did think about, do I want to wear the hat or do I not want to wear the hat? Because, some people, really get triggered by the hat.
It's
But
just a piece of cloth.
So my rationale for wearing the hat is I wanted the guy, the guy's name I can't remember, but the film, his life story,
Mhm.
I wanted him to know I was a Trumper, and to see how he would respond to if there was a Q&A. I wouldn't have to stand up and say, hey, I'm a big Trump fan, and
Right.
give a little background. He could tell, and I was kind of curious what he thought of me, what biases that he had about me, just based on what I was wearing.
Sure.
But I didn't have that opportunity. So,
Well, that's unfortunate. I remember reading, some report the next time, and somebody on social media had said you had tried to bully your way in, and I thought to myself, I've known Wes for a long time, and I have seen him in hot seats. I've seen Democrats yell at him. I've seen, situations where you disagreed with everybody in the room, and I've never once seen you anything other than 100% composed. So I cannot imagine how something is silly, and this is like serious stuff. I've seen you just remain composed and even keel. And I don't know, I need to talk to you about how you do that sometime. but and I'd really like to prescribe that to some other people I know. But it's just amazing to me, and I see that and I think, if you're gonna spread something, well, at least spread something believable, because that was ridiculous that you would lose your cool like that or try to bully your way in. I could easily see you saying, well, I didn't know that, or whatever. But did somebody tell me that they were advertising lots of seat left, come down, and yet they told you they were full?
Yes, yeah. A friend of mine had pointed out to me that that there was a person at Julie Ohashi, one of the leaders of the group,
Okay.
had said, before the event got started, I'm not sure exactly what time. I assume it was after I left. That, hey, if you're not doing anything, come on down. There's plenty of room. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
We got so look, some comments
That's
here.
what
We
I
got
said.
some comments here coming in. Ron Gallard said they would have let you in if you didn't wear the hat, he bet. So that's
Of course.
but
Yeah.
then he turns around and says he likes the hat, and he gives a lot of credit to you for wearing it. So yeah, that and then Brenda Savage says, proud to call you friend, Wes. So good job. So anyway, that's these are some good comments we're getting here. We have some awesome job for you. So to me it's crazy that there's a group out there, and Norris and I were talking before you came in, that about what our experiences are, and I've been here how long have you been in Livingston County?
Moved here in 96.
Okay, so you're still what we call, we 50-year 50-year veterans call a newbie. So, but still, you've been around long enough to see, what the community is like, and being a leader in the community, you would really have an opportunity to see. And I mean, I know what it was like 50 years ago, and it's nothing like that now, nothing.
Well,
And that's not to say it's better, it was horrible and now it's just bad. It's not like we went from murder to armed robbery. I mean, we went from murder to, nothing, or
Well,
maybe,
50
the
years ago,
isolated.
this whole country was a different place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's
You
true.
know, so to
Right.
compare, that time period to now
Yeah,
is unfair.
right.
Is it inaccurate, right? It doesn't reflect the reality
No.
of what's on the ground.
No, that's true. But I grew up in Westland, and it had a very low demographic, variations, and I never saw anything like that there. But here, wow, it was you saw it or you heard about it, and as a kid growing up, but I also saw it end up dying, and as far as I'm concerned, we have no more. I mean, from my perspective, and I am out in that community. I've been out in the community in various ways for many, many years. And I have not seen it any more than the occasional idiot, as I call them. You're going to get them, but you're going to get that everywhere. So
yeah, I would share, my personal experiences, firsthand experiences here in Livingston County. So I've been here almost 30 years.
okay.
And I haven't had any issues. I haven't had anybody bully me. I haven't anybody, threaten me. I haven't anybody call me names except for on the left.
But it was and more about politics than about anything else.
In fact, in terms of race, there's I'll say somebody on the left. I don't want to mention the name. But you would all know who it is, had accused me of condoning white supremacy. when I first ran, back in.
I remember that.
Yeah, do you remember?
Oh, I remember who it was too, and that person's no longer here. So yes,
it was.
It
In
was,
fact, she ran.
yeah.
She ran for county commission.
yeah.
And
yeah.
so they throw around
Mhm.
the race card. In fact, that just reminds me of a joke, and perhaps
Doesn't
you've
mean
heard
anything
it.
anymore.
What's the last thing that a Democrat says before they lose an argument?
Racist.
You're a racist.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's true.
Well, it's any name, right? Whatever name they can come up, whatever ism or is they can come up with, right?
Yes.
Because that shows they've already lost the argument.
Yes.
Right.
So is there during commission meetings, I don't go to all of them, but I go to enough of them to see, and it just seems like it's the same statement every time. You guys are racist. You Republicans are racist. Republican racism. And I've heard it so many times. Can you, is there anything that you can identify that, something that was said to you or to that degree, or is it just all blending into one at this
No, I'd
point?
say right now it all blends into one.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying there is none.
Right.
Because
No.
as I think Norris said, there's assholes everywhere. But it's I'll say the statistics show there's fewer here in Livingston County. I mean,
What statistics?
Well, so Michigan at MICR, Michigan Information Crime Report or something
Okay.
like that. So these are government statistics.
Similar to what the FBI does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And so the sheriff's office compiled. I asked if they could compile stats. Well, the stats that are available on the state of Michigan website are like a summary. So they FOIA'd, the sheriff's department FOIA'd for the detail behind that for 10 years. Because who knows what any 1 year has, but as a person who's has a degree in stats, I think I like to look at all the data. I'm one of those guys.
Statistics. Yeah, that's what we used to call it. That was my worst class.
Yeah, statistics. Yeah.
Oh.
Me too.
But anyway, so in Livingston County, I don't remember them. I don't have them memorized, but we for sure were the lowest. So the statistics provided were for Livingston County and then all the surrounding counties, and then we also included Wayne County, and we were by far and away the lowest per capita. the lowest per capita. I think we were at 4 per. It was 100,000 or so. Anyway, I don't want to cite numbers. I don't remember, but I do remember we were the lowest. And the local media, I will mention her name, Tess Ware. She's the reporter for the Livingston Daily, yeah. Which used to be a respectable, a less left-leaning media organization, but now it's full-blown leftist. She took the numbers and published her own statistics that showed that Livingston County was, I think, number 6 or something like, wasn't the best. It was the 6th best or something like that. And, so here you've got the media teaming up with the leftist organization, SAGE, to smear the county. She's making up statistics. And in fact, I looked up FBI statistics. I looked up, I just Googled around to say, how are crime statistics, race statistics, racial crime statistics reported? It's always reported per capita.
Right.
That's the common denominator. So she comes up with her own statistic just to smear the citizens of this county. It's an orchestrated media. They're teaming up, and
and to what end? I guess that's the question you have to ask, right?
Well, I have my suspicions. The media itself wants to generate anxiety. They want to generate a story. Otherwise, there's nothing to report.
Right.
As people have said to me, the media doesn't report when a plane lands successfully.
Right.
Right. They report when it crashes.
Right.
So when they can foment the hate or make it look like, hey, this place is really bad, Livingston County, it adds to their bottom line. And that's I think it's clear that's what they're doing.
One of our viewers is questioning whether having a master's degree in stats is enough less.
Oh, look at that. It's your commission chair. It's your commission chair.
Yeah. Well, you know what? At a recent commissioner meeting, somebody sent me 2 postcards, 2 individual, same guy, Bob. He didn't put his full name, but he sent me 2 postcards. One, I give the left credit when they make a funny, so one of it was, he said something about, your self-induced septage problem, which it's sewage, quit being such a crappy politician.
Well, bring up, Rob, bring up Jay's comment one more time.
Okay.
So see what you can go at him with is tell him that you'll pay attention to what he says when he puts a picture with his current hair color on it.
Well, and then the same guy, Bob, he sent me a postcard saying, regarding your crime stats or crime information, get better statistics or something like that. So I commented to my colleagues, I said, shoot, I guess my master's in statistics is just not good enough. I'm going to have to go back and get a doctorate. And then, my wife said to me, oh, that would really get the left PO'd because then they'd have to call you a doctor.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll tell you something. If we're going to talk about masters, my master's is in culture change. So I have a culture change. Yes, culture change.
What is that? Exactly?
It's culture. It's what it sounds like. Culture change leadership.
Leadership. Okay,
yeah, culture change leadership. It's like change. It's a fancy way of saying change management, but it's really the ability and the education to take a culture of and kind of how to not manipulate, but kind of coach it so it goes, changes. So yeah, it manipulate it to me is like sneaky culture. It like changes, like kind of moving people along. It's like turning the cruise ship.
Gotcha.
So one thing I know about change and this change is that you have to have a reason to change for change to be enacted. Nobody changes things that work, right? You just don't. There has to be 3 elements to get change. You have to have a dissatisfaction with the status quo. You have to have a vision, present a vision for a desired state, and then you have to have a path to get there. Without those 3 things, and all must be present, there won't be change, right? So let's talk about a group that wants to change the county, okay? And I'm thinking about this, and I thought, well, number one is the issue. There is no dissatisfaction with the status quo. When you think about it, how do you complain that we need to change the Republican leadership in the county? Boy, we hate that AAA bond rating, and we hate that we have the lowest unemployment. We hate that we're one of the healthiest counties, and we hate that we have the lowest,
We hate that we have the lowest crime.
crime, yeah, the lowest crime and some great taxes. We hate that. So the only way to change that is to say, let's tank our bond rating, let's up our crime. So you can't do that. So you have to create some kind of, it's like
You have to create the angst.
Yes, I want to sell you I want to convince you that I have a great water cleaner. I first have to convince you the water's dirty. So this to me feels like it's the creation, the let's whirl something up to make it bad. Well, what could we talk about? Well, let's go back in history. Here's the key. What's believable? What kind of dissatisfaction can we create that's believable? Well, there it is. So I feel like I don't feel like it's believable to those who know, but it might be more believable to gullible people that have heard the history and they don't know anything more or whatnot.
But
So
unfortunately, this is not just here, but that's
Right.
a national strategy for
agreed,
Democrats.
agreed.
But the problem is they always have to go back to the past in
Mhm.
order to try and make their case, right?
Sure.
They aren't digging up recent events, right?
Mhm.
They're not talking about things that are happening today. They're going to talk about, oh yeah, this country has a history of racism.
Right,
This
right,
country
right,
has,
right, right.
Jim Crow and blah blah this, blah blah that. It's like, well, one, you're trying to pin on Republicans. That was Democrats that did.
I was just going to say that.
Exactly.
If we're talking about history, they're not going far enough back.
It's like
How
we
convenient.
can go on back to the
Yeah, right.
the Democrat
That's
Party.
right, that's right.
We were talking about Andrew Jackson, the Trail of
Yes,
Tears. You were talking
yes.
about
The-
the fight for slavery.
Sure.
Democrats,
The KKK.
KKK Democrats,
That's right.
Jim Crow Democrats. Urban renewal Democrats. And we want to talk about the current bigotry of low
Sure.
expectations. of
Planned
Democrats.
Parenthood was started for that
Planned
reason.
Parenthood,
Yes.
and eugenics thing.
That's right.
All of that,
Yep.
But they always have to go backwards.
Mhm.
They never have a forward-looking vision in anything they do. Everything is, like you say, it's all about angst. It's all about disruption. And to be honest, it's just all about the ultimate goal of dividing us all and tearing down society and rebuilding the communist
Sure.
image. But the point is, there's nothing ever new or anything concrete they can report to. It's always this systemic racism. It's like, okay, where?
Right.
Show me. What is it? Explain it exactly.
Yes. Show me.
No
where
one's
it
ever
is. Yes.
defined it.
Well, you talk about systemic racism. I've heard that phrase, and it's in there by the roots. You got to pull it out by the roots and stuff. And I would say, and that's why the Democrats argue we need to get rid of all these Confederate statues and monuments and stuff like that. In my opinion, if you really want to get to the root and stop getting rid of the statues, get rid of the Democrat Party. I mean, that's
well, that's who should pay the reparations. Right?
Yeah. If you want to pay reparations, let's pass a bill that it was the political
back
party.
up. Let's just think about this one for a minute. I might get some legs to it. But oh
We
my
got one
goodness.
chat here we're looking at.
Okay. It's called Mike Zagleski. It's called Marxist pragmatism. Create a problem where none exists and then provide a solution. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I
Exactly.
said.
Well, yeah.
That's two of the three things.
Yeah.
Two of the three. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You have to stir up an issue in order for it to be in
Well,
order
it's a
to
non-issue.
create change.
Yeah.
Right, but you have to create one in order to say, well, we need to change this. Because like I said, I don't know that our county has anything we should be changing or that they could use.
No, that's why I moved out here, because I love it the way it was. It is.
Good.
This group Sage, it was founded. One of the founders was Julia Hashi. They sponsored this, the viewing of this movie. Well, I've published a report. This is back a year and a half or thereabouts, chronicling Julie's fake hate crime. I read
what?
Fake hate crime. I read an article in I think it was MLive that told about a lady, Julie, in her house. Somebody had she said burned a swastika into a tree that she said was on her property, but then the police report says no, it wasn't. It was 50 yards from her
And it was
property.
painted
Okay.
also, right?
It was painted too. So it was so she embellished the story. In fact, this was the old Oakland County Sheriff's Department.
Embellished. That's what
I FOIA'd their police report, and and it's right there. It's not Wes's. I didn't make this up. I'm just transcribing what was in the police report. So the swastika was not burned in because they brought a fire marshal or somebody out to take a look at the tree, and he concluded it's not burned in there. So she was saying that this symbol, the swastika, was to shut her up, to threaten her over her school board activism because her husband was African American. Well, come to find out, he's not. But
That's kind of a tough thing to say.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And you have the gall to tell the police that. I mean, and not only did it get down in the police report, I FOIA'd the body camera footage because they had the body cam. So it was not just the police writing that this happened, it's in her words, saying something like, my husband's the only African American in the neighborhood or something like that.
Oh.
And
did they ever show him, or did they just declare? I mean, a picture of him, or?
Well, I've seen pictures of him. He is not African American,
Okay.
but I think she said that to foment.
Well,
angst.
sure.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
And so the media is involved too, because the media, when they printed the story, and this is what caught me, this is what really got me to dig. They said Dateline, Livingston County. So the Dateline is where the story was.
Right.
And it was in Oakland County. And I knew it was in Oakland County because, get this, Julie and I live in the same subdivision. She happens to live on the Oakland County side. I live on the Livingston County side. So I'm reading this article, and I said, "Oh, that's over in Oakland County." And so I really started digging it, and that's another example of the media.
Because Oakland County Police showed up, right?
Yes, because the Oakland County Police showed up. That's another example of the media being complicit in this.
Oh my goodness.
To foment the hate. And anyway, it was a fascinating. If anybody's interested, the report is still up on my website, commissionerwest.com. Okay. And you can read the report. It's well footnoted. You don't have to take my word for anything. And no, she even said told the sheriff's office that she was a teacher in the Heartland School District. Well, the police doing good follow-up, they went and talked to the Heartland administration. No, she's not a teacher here. It's like,
oh my goodness. Why would that makes no sense to me. Like I said, that's like saying you were bullying somebody. It's not believable. I mean, you can't. It's too easy to prove otherwise. So yes, I don't. That's just foolish. Why would you do that?
There's one lady that comes to the commission meeting. She's really angry at the whole situation, upset about the whole, the movie theater stuff, and I don't think she was aware. I'm pretty confident talking to her that she was not aware of this hoax that Julie tried to perpetrate on the public, and it kind of burst her bubble. I don't know if she, I gave her the website. I hope she read the article.
I'm going to time out for just a second here. Tiffany Baird said, Sage is being exposed and they're having a meltdown, but she also post the second. There you go. Yeah. There's the link to.
There it is. Yeah.
Wes's. Thank you, Tiffany, for that. And she also says she'll send the YouTube video too, and then we'll post the link for that. But yes, that's helpful. So it's this kind of stuff is you're right. And it's funny that you brought that up, because that's exactly the type thing that brought this podcast into existence, because we've had too many people say that the media would, whatever media, they won't play the full side, or
Yeah.
they'll only, take a snippet of this side, you get this big, long accusation. And and what brought it to me is listening at the commission meeting to the same group of people over and over and over and over. Deliberately, you can take one or two times and say, okay, it was a mistake, but that many times is just deliberate. It's the misquoting. It's the vote on this and on X Monday where you give 60,000, say, to the Department of Veterans, and then the next 2 weeks later we're at Y meeting and there's somebody up there saying, why are you only giving 6,000 to the the veterans? And then that's what gets out. That's the narrative. It gets on social media and everything else. So, and it's never like, I know at one point a Democrat approached Commissioner Fiani, at a event, and was complaining about, Livingston County this and Livingston County this and Livingston County and Nick finally just looked right at her and said, then why do you live here?
Exactly.
Why don't you move if you don't like it here? And so the headline the next day was Nick Fiani, Commissioner Fiani screamed at me.
Yeah.
And it's screamed at me to get out. And it's like, again.
I remember that
God,
incident
that's
because it was over in.
I think it was at Hamburg or something. It's
No, it
a
was in
Canada
the,
thing.
what's the golf club
Lakeland?
in Genoa?
Chemung Hills.
No.
Oh, another one?
Oak Point? No, that's
Oak Point.
Oak Point.
Was that in
okay, was that
Genoa?
what it was? Okay, yes.
Yeah, it's Oak Point.
Yeah.
For sure, it was at Oak Point. So I wasn't, part of the conversation, but I was close enough. I didn't hear any yelling.
Gosh, no.
It's like, so they have a tough time telling the truth, and they even have a tougher time telling, providing all sides of the story. So they're not media, they're propagandists.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny too, because when you said Livingston County used to be a good newspaper, I used to write for it 100 years ago. And I remember being told in no certain terms, you do not post your opinion. There's a page for opinions, and that's where you say your opinions. But when you do a story or when you print anything, you print all sides of that. And I thought, I learned that there, and that's what was pounded into my head. So, I've remembered that ever since. And when I don't see that, I get very frustrated. But it is, that's what this is. It's not to have a debate on it. I'm not allowing debates, but it's basically allowing the Republican side or the right side to come here and tell us what really happened, or, did you? So we have another one here. Okay, here, Tiffany. Thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. We've got now the YouTube. Look at you guys, all tech savvy. Oh no, that's Rob. That's all Rob.
Well, I tell you what, I said this off camera. I tip my hat to Rob. I didn't know he was this technological wizard here.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky.
I'd love to have that. I'd love to have the camera from back here when you see his little setup, and he looks like I'm going to date myself here, but you remember Lily Tomlin on Laughing, where all the wires. Yeah, the operator. Yeah. Anybody under 55 won't get that joke. You have to YouTube that.
No,
So-
I really am appreciative of the party taking the time to do this. It's sorely needed. I've read many articles, about Joe Rogan, and his wildly popular podcast, and how that on the national level, the Democrats, are now saying that they don't control the podcast medium. They need to, get their message out. So we're doing something that's sorely needed, because you can't rely on the media.
No,
Right. Well, I credit your constituent, Angela Yarber, for this idea. She brought it up to me and said, let's be a good opportunity to get what we're doing in the party out. And, in thinking about how to develop that, I right away was, yes, let's do that. And then I thought, well, there's something else that we could do this. We could absolutely use this to get sides like this that aren't printed, in the media, and aren't talked about in social media. And so getting this out and let people hear what really happened makes a big difference, because, telling tall tales out there seems to be the plan of the day, and let's embellish to get my side sounding better. But Anyway, so that's why we brought this podcast out, to make sure we get things like this. So the way I understand it, there is a call to the blue public out there to rush the commission meeting.
Yeah,
you heard that as well?
That's my understanding. Like I said, I'm not on social medias, but people send, text me,
Sure.
screenshots and stuff. And you know what? I'm a big fan of the First Amendment.
Sure.
Everybody has a right to grieve their government, and if they want to come out and voice their opinion, that's great. It's I have no objections.
Sure.
So I look forward to a vigorous debate, because when you have a vigorous debate and discussion, I think that augurs well for our side.
It does, if it's a debate and not a screaming, blow things out of proportion.
Well, there's that. Right.
Embellish, yelling matches, whatever. So anyway, so this is a good thing. So if you have something good to say about this topic, about Commissioner Nakagiri, about the Republican commissioners, we also urge you to come to the 24th and come to the commission meeting. It starts at the 24th is at 6.
Yes.
6 o'clock on the 24th, and voice your opinion. And like
Get
Commissioner,
there early.
get there early, or
5:15,
park.
5:30.
Yeah,
wow,
go
yeah,
there,
okay.
go
Okay,
there and
really
have
early.
park somewhere, and then go have dinner at Clary's and then come back. So we got some more comments up here. We just Bill Reiber appreciated the scrolling message, this is fun trying to fit right there. That's a good, nice, he said. Scott for Heartland School Board. Thanks, Wes.
Jeff
Scott, yes.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, Bill Reiber, you demand. Wes. Jay Drick. Sage has also called for folks to flood the City of Howell. Oh, the City of Howell meeting on the 24th as well. So yes, it's going to be. Yeah. So I forgot about that.
So
Angela
Howell has Howell and the commissioners meeting the same night.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Angela Yarber says thanks for presenting the truth, Wes. And Jay Drick says city meeting starts at 7:30. So
I might be able to get over there.
Yeah.
New vote.
Well, good. So and as Commissioner Nakagiri has said, it is free speech is a good thing. The government should, and what free speech refers to is the government cannot shut you down. So this is good. And so speak to your government, tell them. Then we've got come to the meeting on the 24th, library board meeting this Thursday at Heartland Music Hall. So we got a lot of meetings that people want us to go to out there.
Have you heard about the meeting the day after tomorrow at the
Talk to us.
the Cromaine Library,
Talk to
Heartland
us.
Library?
I think that's the one they're mentioning.
Yeah.
know.
So I haven't looked at the agenda, but I've been told by people that on the agenda are going to be 3 significant issues. One,
Okay.
they're going to vote on requiring the Pledge of Allegiance to be,
Okay.
done before a meeting.
Oh.
That resolution, when the library board was controlled by leftists, last year, it was defeated 4-3. They said, well, we don't want to do the pledge, and so it was defeated. So now after the elections, the conservatives hold a 5-2 majority, and they're going to bring that issue back up, and I bet big money it's going to pass. They're going to do require the pledge. Another issue that's on the docket is they've long wanted the conservatives have long wanted children's books to include a label if there's sexual content in there, so that the parents don't have to read everything ahead of time. It's akin to putting the rating on the movies, G or PG or R or X. And so what the left has done is passed a policy that says the library director may label the books. And so they just happen not to get labeled.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding is that they'll change and vote on a policy that says shall label the books. And I would imagine that's going to pass too. And then the third thing that's on the docket, at least I'm told it's on the docket, like I said, I hadn't read the agenda for myself, is that they're going to quit doing these, celebrating these sexual months, like Pride Month. I mean,
Garbage.
that's why not celebrate the Constitution? Why not celebrate, learning, just general learning and history and stuff like that? Why does it have to be? Let's celebrate,
Deviancy.
Yes.
Let's call it what it is, right? Let's call it what it is.
So, those policies pass, and I think that is will be one of the more significant evenings for local policy changes in Livingston County in a long time.
Do they typically meet at the Heartland Music Hall?
No.
That sounds to me like they're expecting an audience.
Yes, they
for a library.
For a library board, yeah, it seems to me a library board could fit in, your living room. But
it
normally-
could.
Okay.
It might. Yeah, for sure. But I think the leadership at the library board understands that there will be a vocal minority. They'll come out, and I'm told that don't be surprised if you get people coming up here from Washtenaw County.
Oh, that's going to happen. It is.
Is that allowed?
Yes. Yeah. But what the prior library board did, and I've been to a handful of library board meetings, they do not require somebody speaking at call to public to provide their location. At the county,
usually you do, right?
Yeah, at the commissioner meetings, we ask for your name and the township or city that you live in. We used to ask for the address, but then people brought up sensitivities about where they actually live. So I can appreciate that. So
all the doxing and going on.
The doxing and stuff. But at the library, they don't require that. But I'm told that they're going to start requiring it, and that's a reasonable thing to do, to know if somebody's from your community that lives in the district, or they're just somebody, an agitator from outside the district.
Because because if you're not a constituent, why do we need to hear from you?
Well,
personally.
Yes.
So,
well, by law, we have to hear from them.
Yeah,
but,
you do.
By law, But as far as consideration for votes and
correct.
everything else, you don't count unless you're a constituent.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, Angela Yarber, I see that you're on. Hopefully you're hearing me and you can answer me. Angela has been posting lately and reading from some of the books, from the children's books that are in the library.
Ooh.
Holy crow. Oh my gosh.
I've heard
some of that stuff. I
did you blush?
Yes, I blushed. I couldn't.
Wow.
I know. I'm a pretty steady, tough old bird, but so for something like that, it was like, yowza. This is coming. This is at a spot where, Angela, I don't know if you are watching, but there we go. No, go check out Angela Yarber for Kids Facebook page. She reads the books from the children's section, and some of that stuff, I'm like, I can't believe what I just read, and I'm thinking to myself, a library is where you wanted your kids to go to not have crazy things. You don't want them out in the streets. That was a safe place. Now, when you've got to petition your library, Angela Yarber, I'm confident those books are in all libraries. That's even worse. But that's where like I said, that's where you sent your kids. My kids wanted to go, can we go hang out uptown? No. Can we go, hang out over in the park? No. Can we go to the library? Sure. Yeah. So they went to the library, and now it's like they got her up in the park.
No.
You're in the park, all right.
Park.
You can go. Yeah. You can
go play outside.
Yeah.
So
Jesus, my goodness gracious.
Angela had presented with some statistics. I love numbers. I don't know how she found this out, but there were 300 and some odd books that talked about gender, kids books.
Okay.
And I said, well, is that a lot? Is that a little? Let's get a comparison here. And so she went back and she found like 150 or 160 that talked about the Constitution. And so think about that. I mean, what do you want your kids to know? You want
Right.
the history. But instead there's twice as many books on sexual stuff.
And some of the stuff, I've got a 22-year-old at Michigan State that I wouldn't want to read that stuff. It's like, 21 or 22-year-old grandson. It's like, yuck. It's some foul stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Also.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I mean, graphic descriptions, really graphic descriptions. And it's like, I was just aghast. And I think my only post on one of those posts were how can anybody think this is a good idea? Or how can anybody vote to approve this for kids?
Well, I
section?
mean, it's the same people that vote to approve transitioning kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I know.
the same kind of evil.
You know,
in both,
yeah.
It's the same faction, the same side of the
Sure.
coin. It's that same group of people that have no concern about the future of our country.
Right.
I mean, because you destroy the children, you destroy the future.
And I think you and I were having lunch one day, and I think we were talking about this, but now, I mean, back in my day, back in my day when I was younger, I was quite the tomboy. I didn't play with. I played baseball. I played basketball. I played. We rode bikes everywhere and jumped up on curbs and jumped on things, and we scrapped with boys and fought them and won and lost, and I mean, we played dodgeball with them, and we played King of the Hill, and we played everything that outdoor stuff, and that we played baseball in the streets. And nowadays, I think I was telling you this, nowadays my girlfriend and I just one of the girlfriends, the tomboy girlfriends I had back then, she and I were talking recently, and it was like, we said, if we were like that now, somebody would probably take us and put us in, you really want to be a boy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never in my life have I ever wanted to be a boy. No, I liked being a girl, but I liked all doing sports. So why on earth, I mean, I see that now, and you read the stories and you see the people. I saw a video of a young lady that said, she was convinced as a teenager, and she had all her hormone blockers and, every night. And then she, like in her 20s, she realized that's not what she wanted at all. And it was all
damage is done.
Damage is done. And so at what point do you become responsible for that? Is there any accountability? I mean, do they go back and like sue the teachers or the schools that, convinced her or talked to her or told her that was okay?
Well, I think Tennessee passed a law, and I think it might be in the Supreme Court now.
Okay.
But they did pass a law that you could sue the doctors. Any of that kind of transition to the kids. So
yeah,
there was at least some sort of legal recourse. There was some other things in the law too, but that was one of the big things.
Wow.
That gave some recourse to those people those children who had been, duped. If you
will. And let me make it really clear that I don't think most people have an issue with people's choices in that regard. If a girl wants to dress like a boy in school, and that's fine. And if a boy wants to dress like a girl, that's fine. They should not be bullied. They should not be singled out. They should get to do what they want to do. They don't. Well, it's not something I want to encourage. But if they want to do it for whatever period, it could be that if they would have let that girl do that, and then a year later she'd have changed her mind. I'm not saying it's
not the girl. It's usually the boy side.
Whatever, but whatever. It's their choice. You know what I mean? I believe in freedom of choice, and I don't feel like they should be bullied, and I don't feel like I feel like they should not be pushed or encouraged into group, into the puberty blockers and all the things that have lasting physical effects. And if you're a grown, if you're over 18 and these are the things you want to do, then it is your choice. And I support your right to choose. I don't necessarily, it's not something I would do, but I think that it's their right to do it. And just like West, believes in the Fifth Amendment. I believe in, if you want to lock things off or add them, that's just fine. It's your choice to do. But I don't think any child should be coerced or trying to, reassign gender, as Brenda's talking up here about. It just, you start doing that, and to me, that's like playing God. Here, I'm gonna help you change, and this is not even a biblical situation. I'm not saying, well, God wants you to do this or that. That's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying that a child can dress the way he wants to dress or she wants to dress, and they should be not bullied. They should be left to do what they want. And frankly, when they do, there's a really good chance that later on they'll think, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. A kid wants to be an astronaut. I remember my kids, my boys, I had two boys, and both a girl and two boys. And the two boys at one point in their teenage years came back, and they looked at me and they said, we want to dress, we want those big baggy, saggy things. And I just, my shaking in my head was not picturing them. It was picturing Jay's face when they went to dress. Yeah. So, and we, it ended up with a compromise. All right. You want to wear a little bit of a baggy thing? That's fine. You want to wear the long shirts? That's fine. But no, we weren't going to wear the things that are, the pants that come down to the,
pants on the ground.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, no boxers sticking out, that sort of thing. So, they got a little bit, but I remember it drove me crazy. And I just, for like a year, I had to put up with that stuff. And then my son Corey comes to me one day and he goes, I've kind of decided I want to change. I want to dress preppy. I had him in that car, and I had my purse, and I took my purse, grabbed him out. We went down to the outlet mall, and I bought him all the polos and fired those pants when I got home. So it was, that was that. But see, my point is that they change, right? Had I, you just can't make that kind of stuff. You can't make that kind of a permanent decision. This is who I want to be. No, this is who I want to be. But to when you start physically encouraging doing things that kind of lock you into that position older, you can't even, you can't vote at 14. Why are you letting somebody
I don't
decide?
think somebody told me you can't get a tattoo.
No,
you can't. You can't do a permanent tattoo, but you want to,
but we want to allow Goebbels type experimentation on
yes,
on people in
yes,
general, but
exactly.
especially on children. It's like,
exactly.
Is this what we are?
No.
There was I remember watching a clip from Bill Maher. I don't know if you know who Bill Maher. Yeah, he's on the left.
Sure.
But although he's getting a little common
once
sense,
in a while, he has
makes a point once in a while.
He was talking about transition, and he goes, I'm really glad when I was a kid, I wanted to be a pirate, and I'm really glad my parents didn't, saw off half my leg, put a peg leg on there, and poke out one of my eyes, because
I know.
But it's sad that you missed that. But there are people that do that.
I know. They do dumb stuff like that.
They will go and say, I don't know what they call it with their justification, but they say, I want to be an amputee.
Wow.
So yeah, there's that out there too now. It's nuts. But the sad part is there are doctors that will do it.
Yeah.
Is
that part of do no harm?
Yeah, you would think. Well, you think all this would be part of do no harm, right?
Oh, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. But anyway, but it's to our point, there's a lot of hype out there that just shouldn't be, and back to our sage conversation. And so I'm glad we had this discussion. I'm glad you cleared up what happened, and it's a little anticlimactic, if you ask me, that you went there and we were told no and you went home.
Yeah, it was,
you didn't pound the table or threaten or wave your MAGA hat at
people
their face.
have sent me stuff that hey, they're really after you, they really want to get you, and I'm thinking, why is that? All I did was go and I just tried to watch a movie, and anyway.
And what was really bad is I remember that woman that said, I'm really glad you're coming, and hopefully other commissioners will come too. So that was really stinky, that he actually told everybody, yeah, I'd like to see that, I'm interested in it, and you showed a genuine interest in what that might be.
Yeah.
And so that was stinky. So, and there's somebody out there kind of pseudo threatening you too. I can't remember the information.
Actually, I was asked if I, was interested in having a cease and desist letter authored in my behalf. I want to contemplate that a little bit.
Yeah.
But So, at least, yeah, I haven't made up my mind, but
I think that there's going to be plenty of people at the commission meeting on the 24th. So if this is, a situation that's interesting, and yes, it's going to be long and it's going to be drawn out, but I mean, your voice, if you believe in this and you really want to make a statement, especially the statement that says, as we do this, and the city came out, which I was totally thrilled to see that. The city came out and said, we denounce Sage, we denounce this stuff, we denounce this idea that, Howell has racism and all kinds of nonsense. Howell, there's no room for hate in Howell, or something was their slogan, which I've lived in the city of Howell for 34 years, 35 years, and I've lived in the Howell the Howell general area, whether it was Howell Township, or I grew up in Howell Township. So I've lived in this area for a long time, and it shouldn't exist here. It doesn't exist here, except in the minds of those who want to use it for their own, purpose.
political ends.
Yes. That's unfortunate.
I shared this analogy with a friend. The Sage and the left and the Democrats are celebrating this gentleman's life, who was a avowed racist, a
Right.
big time hater,
Sure.
and he's found redemption.
Mhm.
And if you think about that, compare that to the history of Livingston County, where yes, there was a racism problem, and now it's not there. And so why don't we celebrate that?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
But you can't divide on that.
right. You cannot divide. Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, and I feel like, what I would really like to see is back when, here's the thing, back when people got together and decided we've had enough. At one point we had I want to say it was late 80s, there was a cross burning on a lawn here, and maybe it was 90s, but I want to say it was late 80s, and a group formed, and I believe they were called Livingston 2001, but then they became the Livingston Diversity, or the other way around. I don't remember the order, but they basically formed, I think it was 2001 first, basically saying that they were going to work and have the community pulled together to end this racism nonsense by 2001, and they were going to do it by means of education and increased police, and they really did a good job. And I want to say, I'm not sure, but I want to say that they changed to Livingston Diversity because they got to 2001 and they had done a good job, but they still wanted to continue, so they changed it. But whatever it was, they did a fantastic job. They really worked hard. But what I don't remember, and it could have been, but I don't remember it being a Democrat group yelling at a Republican group that this was their fault or they were the ones or whatnot. I just remember it being a community thing that we hate this. Maybe internally it was, and I just didn't see it. So I guess that possibility is there, but it wasn't, loud and proud. Of course, we didn't have social media back then helping out either, so that could very well be it.
Yes.
But so I just dislike that it's, nobody likes racism. I don't care if you're, unless you're racist, you don't like it. And it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat racist or Republican racist, you're not liking it, or, because you're a Republican or because you're a Democrat. I don't like it. I don't think most Dems like it. I would love to see a Dem tell me that they don't like that it's being polarized or politicized, and it is what it is. It's bad. It doesn't matter. But it's not attributed to a party. I mean, stupidity runs in both sides, and so racism is no more political than, it's only political by people who use it for political gain, if that makes sense.
I think I agree in most what you said, but I disagree when you say it's not. It for sure used to be associated with one political party. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But we're talking.
I mean, that was.
Hey Wes, which party was that?
It slipped my mind. I started with a D.
No. Whatever.
That's a trunk. Put your trunk down. Put your trunk down.
I'm picking legs up.
Oh, that looks like an elephant trunk. Stop it.
Well,
No.
that's
And you go back far enough, yes, but I'm talking about in the 80s. In the late 80s, it was not that at that time in Howell, before you got here, I might add, it was not a or it was not politicized at that time, or at least not that I remember it. I'm not saying in places it wasn't, but it just seemed to be because I don't see it happening. I mean, yes, you see the demonstrators, but even then, if the reports say most of these people by far they don't live here. They're from outside the county. You get maybe one guy in the group that's from one of the I'm not going to mention the township, but
what is how long has Sage been a thing?
I think Sage got started in and around not this November 2024 elections, but in November 2022, and maybe a little bit earlier than that. They were very active in they want the left to control the school boards, and so I know they were active politically in 2022, and I think they got started a little bit ahead of that.
Okay. So it's just basically another Democrat group.
Well, yeah,
we know that, but
yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did a great job on Pinckney, as far as the school board is concerned.
I tell you what, the
No, I'm just saying, Pinckney's.
Okay.
Yeah. All that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's many school boards, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
yes. So, and I think you often see that, especially in a county like ours that are so heavily Republican in elections when it's nonpartisan.
Yeah. Well, nonpartisan.
Yes. Which basically means you can't put it on your sign, I think.
Yeah.
I think you can state your views and you can state everything else, but you just can't
hope
put,
that,
that on your sign.
Once Republicans get control of the state levers again,
yeah,
that they will get rid of the nonpartisan label.
That would be good.
Idiotic.
Yeah, it is. Citizens deserve more information.
Sure, not
to
less.
make their decision. Yeah.
Yes. And it because in the argument for those in favor of the nonpartisan labels are, they say, well, certain positions, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There's a distinct difference between what and a school board, what a Democrat will do with money and what a Republican will do with money. Distinct difference. And there's a distinct difference whether a Democrat will try to encourage a millage and whether a Republican will. There's a distinct difference there too. And that's the same with your cities, and that's the same with any other place that's nonpartisan.
Well, and even with school boards, it's not just the money issues. It's the
sure
DEI,
now, yes,
it's the the transitioning,
right,
it's all this stuff.
right.
The grooming of kids, all of this stuff is
well,
coming from
Democrats.
I meant to say that. I meant to say it's the kicking of the legs, not the trunk.
Yeah,
so,
that you were looking like you're doing something.
let's make sure I clarify that.
Put your trunk down.
I meant to say, yeah, whatever the noise, the ass makes. Yeah. So sorry. So I want to clarify that. Make sure nobody.
Okay. Do we have any volunteers to be a co-host from now on? Accepting applications. Somebody knows the difference between an elephant and a donkey.
You talk about the alphabet, so Republicans that I've seen on school boards, they're for ABCs. The Democrats are for DEI and LGBTQ. I mean, they have a different letter system.
SEL or whatever, right? CRT, whatever.
CRT, yeah.
Whatever three-letter combination you want to come up with. So, yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, thanks, Wes, for coming on the show, and thanks for explaining this stuff. It's been a great conversation. I hope it's generated some conversation back home. Remember that this big nonsense is going to happen on the 24th at the Commission Building, 6 o'clock, and then 7:30 at the City of Howell across the street. So Rob, I think, said it earlier. Come early, maybe go have dinner, because it's going to be a full boat, I think. And but come and have your say. Talk about it. If you think all this stirring up of racism is faulty, then speak up. But I just wonder if that movie was played in Ypsilanti, or if that movie is played in Pontiac, if you just have those same people out front, the armed people, would you have the Nazi people outside? I don't know, but I believe they feel like if they come here,
They get attention.
they get attention because yes,
Because
the
of the-
media
Because of history,
really,
prior
yes,
history,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it is bad. So if anything, the SAGE group that stands against extremism, they're doing things to encourage that. And yet to say that you're against it and yet do things that bait and
Yeah.
encourage.
No,
I-
they are the extremists.
Yes, it is. So that's unfortunate. So anyway, remember, please come to, we left you some websites there, and Angela Yarber for Kids Facebook. Look at some of those books. Ugh, ugh.
Don't let your kids look.
Don't
at
let
the
your
book.
kids look at the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna send your kids to libraries, go with them and take a look at anything. And I agree, they should be marked. And hopefully, a couple years, as Norris mentioned, when we get our majority back, some of these things can be a shall versus a may, and we can really work this out. So, thanks again, Commissioner
Thank you very
Nakagiri, for
much.
coming back.
Thanks, Wes.
And we're gonna take a break, and we'll be back shortly.
Hey, what do you say? This whole town could be red by the end of the day. If you feel alright, we could throw it and drive. With the radio up.
And we're back again with
What the hell? I leave for an hour and you guys are talking about races. You're talking about Sage. What the hell? I mean, you guys are talking about everything
we
over
were talking
here.
about everything.
Woo!
Well, when you invite Commissioner Nakagiri in, you get your money's worth.
I'll give him eccentric sometimes, right?
Yes,
And because he came
yes,
in that one
yeah.
time with the garbage man
Oh
suit
my
on,
God,
that was
yes,
hilarious.
yeah.
Because somebody said the Trump supporters are trash.
Yes,
So that was
yes,
hilarious.
yes.
Yeah, but I've never seen him lose his cool.
No.
No.
And the thought of somebody saying that he tried to bully him in, that's foolish talk. That is just foolish talk.
Yes.
I've seen him have, Democrat after Democrat hammer him at, because of something he voted for or something he's proposing or something, whatever. And he always stays calm. He always keeps completely composed.
Sure.
I've never seen anything different than that. So yeah, to say he tried to bully somebody, that's just foolish. If you're going to make an accusation, make it stick,
Yeah,
or make something that's believable.
If you're going to lie to
right?
me, don't cheat my intelligence.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So, this is the portion of the show where we kind of talk about what's going on with the Livingston County Republican Party. We've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. We have tomorrow night, we have our youth chair podcast, our youth chair Zoom meeting. We're going to meet. Some of you may remember a week or so ago that a couple of weeks ago, Norris apparently watched. I didn't, but it was it was last week, last Tuesday. It was a week ago tonight that
Yeah, well, we
uh,
were on, we
we
were
were
on
on
the
here.
air.
Yeah, Michigan.
Good thing we didn't break
That's
into that
right,
other.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That would
that's
have
a
been
good thing.
bad. Ooh.
Yeah,
Um,
it was colorful.
It was, yes,
Yes.
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 Well, Michigan GOP candidate Joe Sella had a Zoom town hall, and
Very unfortunate. Yeah.
yes,
yeah.
and somebody hacked it and put absolutely obscene pornographic images everywhere. And not only did Mr. Sella lose control of the meeting, he
They at least lost their account for some
they
time.
lost their account.
at
Yeah,
least
I
for
don't know
some
if he's
time.
got it back yet,
Yeah,
but I know
I
they
don't know.
hijacked it and he
I
couldn't
don't
get it back. So
Yeah. Very savage.
yes,
Very
and,
savage.
yes,
Very crude. Our hearts
Very.
go out to that
Yes,
team
we
and
didn't
any
like that.
team
I
that, you
know.
know, because during this time, we understand everybody is like super, super intense about their person. And I am too. I am too. But in the end, we have to unify on Sunday. Okay.
Agreed.
On
Agreed.
Sunday, we got to unify. So whatever we're doing right now, let's make sure that we can remain friends so that we can move forward on Sunday. Big deal.
Yep.
Big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we had, but anyway, in light of that, I know that there was some real concern from our team on the youth team. So about that happening, especially as we're dealing with youth director candidates, that would just have been awful. So our youth chair actually had a very good idea. Let's do let's just bring in, have a private, Zoom with the 3 candidates. We'll record it and then release it to everybody that wants to see it
And we
unedited.
can broadcast it whenever.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
yeah.
We can
Yeah.
broadcast it. We can put it. We'll give copies to the candidates and let them put it out. So
Yeah.
we feel like that's the safest alternative to what we could do. So that's tomorrow, and I believe from 5. So whatever the Zoom link you had to come and watch that is now dead. So don't use that. We will post everything, and like I said, the candidates will have it as well. So
we'll also have that meeting on our YouTube channel, so that if you're not able to watch it when they stream it for the first time, it's not a big deal. Okay,
Yeah, you can watch
we'll
it.
have it.
Yep.
We'll have it on the YouTube channel so that you can watch it over and over
Yep.
again, and just so that you can make an informed decision.
Sure.
on who you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's that. We have our normal stuff, and those of you who haven't been around recently, I invite you to come back. We have beef stuff up. We've got a team that's just beefing stuff up. We've got every Thursday, the 1, 2, 3, 4 Thursdays. First Thursday's our meeting. We get the EC business done by 7:30, and after 7:30 on, it's just open Republican meeting, and we can talk about whatever happens to come up. Second,
Are you going to wing this one?
no. There will be an agenda. No, we will have an agenda. Yeah, no more winging.
Okay.
Third, that'll be the second Thursday is going to be second Thursday workshop, and we're going to have workshops every second Thursday. The next month will be March, the second Thursday in March. It'll be here at the Victory Center, and it'll basically be how do you ran on conservative promises. How do you keep them once you're elected? And we'll have some very experienced conservative electeds here that can kind of help talk about the struggles between, it's easy to say, it sounds like a great idea when you're campaigning, and then you get elected and have to do these things, and they're a little tricky sometimes. So yeah, how do you do it? So we're going to have some really, really good, we have some wonderful Republicans that actually govern conservatively. So we're going to have them here. Third Thursday of the month, every month here in the Victory Center is our wonderful delegate team of Sharon Lalio and Connie Robinson and Marcia Dix. They have put on an informational and kind of a relationship building meeting with our delegates. So if you're a delegate and you want to get to know other delegates, please come. It's a wonderful opportunity. You get a lot of discussions, make some friends. And then the fourth Thursday is our social. And that is our last one was great. We're going to do this one. This next one will be February 27th, I think is the fourth Thursday. That's at Aubrey's between Howell and Brighton there, the pizzeria. We have a special room, 6 o'clock if you want dinner, 7 o'clock to 9 if you just want to come and hang out. We just sort of have that area to kind of network and mingle and get to know people. If you are a new member, if you're new to the LCRP, if you're new to the area, or you just want to see what we're about, I invite you to come. It helps if you RSVP, just so I make sure that we have enough room set up. So best way to RSVP is not mandatory, but helpful, is chair@LivingstonRepublicans with an S.com.
Yep.
So, one new thing that we're doing is you saw what Jessica Ignatowski did today?
Yeah,
She kicked
that was
off
wonderful.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Republican of the Month or
No, well,
something
no,
like
it's gonna be we've changed that. It's really gonna be like meet your Republican
That's
neighbor,
a
that
bunch
kind of
of
thing.
crap. I wanted to be Republican of the Month
All right.
in August.
Okay, here.
This is
There's your
crap.
crown. Yes.
This is
No,
crap.
we're gonna be not gonna be Republican of the Month. It's not. You're always Republican of the Month.
All
Rob, you're
right,
good.
all
So,
right.
it's gonna be meet your Republican neighbor, reach your conservative neighbor, whatever she wants to call it. But it's basically going to be a get to know you type thing. It's not an award of any kind, but it's a get to know you kind of thing. So we're going to feature Republicans that are around, that come to things, come to events, just so you get to know them a little bit. Maybe you find you have something in common. But we did the first one on her, so it kind of explains, and I told her you gotta put your money where your mouth is. You can't ask other people to do it if you're not willing. So, and she's a trooper. She did it. So she did a real good job, and she's going to be, she posted on our website a link that you can go and fill it out if you want to nominate somebody, or if you want to, you can send her an email saying, look, I nominate so-and-so, there's their email, get a hold of them, that kind of thing. So we've got, we're going to do that once a week. I don't know what day she's going to do it. She's going to do it every Tuesday or not. That would be good. So other than that,
What do you get if you're simultaneous weeks in a row? If you're like the same person, is there something there?
No.
No, okay. I'm not getting anywhere. Okay, go ahead.
we get your chili.
All right. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I was reached out. I'm going to give this one to Jim Witkowski, trustee from Marion Township, reached out to me today and said, hey, he has some ladies that asked if we have a women's group within the Republican Party. They were really interested. We haven't had one in a while. We did have one. And I will tell you something. I was telling Rob the last time we had a women's group, and how one of the things we did was we came up with a float for the Fantasy Lights Parade in downtown Howell. And we got a flatbed, and the recently passed good friend of the Republicans, Dave Grissom, pulled this thing with his truck. And we had Senator Tice was the Statue of Liberty. So she walked around the Statue of Liberty conversation. And
that's awesome.
We had Mary Helfman from Fowlerville. She was Betsy Ross, and she sat and sewed.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, I know. It was fun.
Yeah.
And she owns a costume shop, so she let us have all the costumes. Perfect. I sat in this ginormous gold throne with a white wig that was about 4 feet tall. I was a Marie Antoinette, and I had the big puffy gown, and we had hooked up we rigged up a sound system. So I was singing Christmas carols all the way down, which was kind of fun. So this is the kind of stuff we like to do, but we did other stuff too. We had events, and we did things. So if you're interested in being involved, in joining, and kind of being on the board on whatever level, if you're a female and you're interested in being part of a Livingston Women's Republicans, please chair at livingstonrepublicans.com, and then let me know you're interested, and we'll be doing that soon. So another thing I'd like to hear is, we're going to be doing the second Thursday workshops. What kind of workshops do you want? I have things that, we got planned for a little while, but, I'm always open for ideas. What kind of things would you like to see a workshop on? So chair at livingstonrepublicans.com. Give us an idea. What about you? What do you think? Anything in particular stand out to either one of you?
I think we need another cook-off.
We're going up.
That's what I think.
That's it. Cook-off.
I'm pretty sure I'm 2 for 2, and she
you are
keeps
not
making stuff up here, okay? But I'm pretty sure
no.
I won the chili, and I won the chicken noodle.
You won the chili because I disqualified myself because I had first, second, and third place.
Look, the technicalities on how I won aren't germane to the fact that when I left, I had first place.
What does 98% of the vote for me? What part of that do you think you
so
won?
We're gonna solve this.
Anyway,
We're gonna solve this.
We had a chicken, we had the chili, and I beat the snot out of them. He won the chicken noodle soup cook-off, and so that's fine. His soup really was good. I'm going to give that to him.
She was on her
But,
deathbed though,
Oh,
so I don't know if
was.
I get. I
And
don't know
I
if I
didn't
get out
have
that
any
like.
chicken bouillon either. How do you
Oh,
make
yeah.
chicken soup without bouillon?
rough.
So
It's
whatever.
rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so was my chicken
Yeah,
soup.
so that's what I want to do.
Yeah. So let's do. So we talked, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a throwdown here. We're going to have a pancake throwdown, and we're going to be here. Don't we already said we were going to do this? Don't you make that face? We're going to be here. It'll be great because it'll be a morning thing instead of an evening thing. So it'll be maybe a Saturday morning. We'll come here. Anything to make Rob get up early.
Oh,
And so that's right there's worth it. But we're gonna have a pancake throwdown, and he'll make his pancakes with his toppings. I'll make my pancakes with mine, and we'll have to have a pancake. But it's really a good opportunity to. We had a blast at the chili cook-off, and we had a blast at the chicken noodle soup cook-off. There was everybody here, and so people will come and we'll ask people, do you want to bring bacon? You want to, you can bring donuts or whatever. Bob Kittredge will bring jelly donuts. I know it. So it'll be that kind of thing. So we're going to look for that on a Saturday coming up. We have some committees that we could use some help on. Jessica Bearfield could use some help with events committees. It's basically, setting up and tearing down and, decorating, things like that. We could, Sharon and Mike Staten are our chairs for membership, and Maria Wolford is working with them, but we can use some other help on those committees, things like greeters or inviters, when we get a new person to come to a fourth Thursday, sit with them, talk to them, that sort of thing. We need people like that. So, and what other kind of committees do you think we need? What do you think we need that will make our party better? Our youth committee, Spencer can always use help with the youth committee. So anybody that wants to get involved with that, you can email him directly if you want. That's youthchair@livingstonrepublicans.com. So what do you think? What do you think we should be doing? Or what do you like that we're doing?
I don't have any complaints at this point,
Good.
but I'm learning. So
Good.
as I get deeper ingrained,
Okay.
deeply ingrained,
Good.
more ideas.
Okay.
So
I think our party is really becoming, we've always had a good party. I don't care who is chair. I don't care what happened. We've had a good base of people. We've done good things, right? For years. I go back a lot of chairs, and we've each chair had their strengths and their weaknesses, and we did good here, and then we got over here, then we did good here, and then we got somebody else, and so this is I think we've always had a good strong base, so this is just a matter of trying some new stuff, and like this podcast, we love it. So let's talk about what's going on. Jay Drick, who is Liam McPhail? Never mind. Okay, so then we have Tiffany Baird, get the future Republicans excited and feel like they're part of it. My kids always love when I bring them to these political events. Oh, amen to that. Okay. We need a family fun committee. Oh, okay.
public speaking.
Oh, public speaking. That's a good one. I'm writing that one down. Public speaking. And then a family fun committee.
Election process.
Education about election process. Oh, that's a good idea. And balloting too. Okay, so yeah, that's a good one. Public speaking, that's a good one too. It is what's the public speaking is like one of the number one fears on the planet.
It is until you do it enough.
Yeah, and most and there was some sort of where's Wes and where's our stats man? We lost our stats man, but there's some poll I saw for a long time that said, people are afraid of public speaking than they are dying. So they'd rather die than speak in public, and you're right. Until you've done it, it's a scary thing. But once you've done it, it's nothing. So, okay. Well, welcome to Norris to hang out with us today. He did a great job, and thank you to Commissioner Wes Nakagiri from the Heartland District. Who always has interesting things going on in his life, and is quite open about them and honest about what happens. So it's always interesting to hear what things have gone on in his life. So anything more before we close down? Okay. Well, we have our big convention this weekend. And I know that there's been a lot of talk, and a lot of people are opining about this this convention, and we've got 3 good candidates. You know, some like this one, some like this one, some like this one. That's just fine. But remember, as Rob said, you know, unity is something that happens when people disagree. It isn't something that happens when everybody agrees. That's just agreement. That's just dumb luck, right? Unity happens after a decision is made, and it may not be the one you chose, but you still, that's when unity is. And I think, you know, they've always, I've heard it said that when you want patience and you pray to God for patience, he doesn't just poof grant it to you. He gives you opportunities to practice it. And so, you know, careful what you ask for. So when you want unity, you're going to get the opportunity to practice for it. So no matter who wins this weekend, no matter what's going on in our party, unity is the #1 thing everybody says they want. So let's make sure we live up to that, not just make it a word.
Concerted effort to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay. Good night. We'll see you next week.